Hello everyone! Yes, it's Wednesday, so we all know what's going to be happening today. It's going to be another plug-in shootout, and following on from my video all about the fall of waves, and yes, I do think it's going to happen eventually, so I thought I would do a little test to see if my point is actually true. So what are we going to be shooting out today? We're going to be shooting out Helios gear. So we've got Helios EQ from Waves, and also including the KRAMER PIE in there as well, as it was all endorsed by Eddie Kramer, and we've also got the Acustica. So how big a difference is the audio quality? Let's find out. So good afternoon everyone, whatever time or day you're watching this. I hope you enjoyed last week's videos that I did on the Pultec, and also I did it on the Fairchild as well. So 2 videos for you last week. So again, I did pull out the boat for you a little bit, even though I had them done 3 weeks ago. Oh well. So as I did say earlier, I want to kind of go further down the rabbit hole in terms of this whole Waves audio thing. I did do a video talking all about the fall of Waves audio and where I feel that they're lacking, and how I feel that they are purposely choosing not to go over the next hurdle. They're very happy where they are just now, but the other manufacturers are doing more and more, so I do suggest you watch that out. So there was a few Waves guys out there that did say to me, that's rubbish. Waves plugins have been getting used over the decades. They're a staple in so many people's chains, and I'm not disagreeing with that. All I'm saying is, have you looked at the other options available now? Because if you did, then you would see there's a massive difference in audio quality. So let's speak about Eddie Kramer. Okay, so Eddie Kramer is one of the most legendary engineers of all time. You will know him mostly from the work that he did with Jimi Hendrix. Again, that's how a lot of people kind of tag him in, but he did so many bloody records, right? And Waves sampled his Helios desk. Okay, so again, Helios desks are very sought after. Again, they do have a certain colour to them and a sound that's very unique to them. Now, in conjunction with the HLS that Waves brought out, they also brought out the Waves KRAMER PIE, which is basically an emulation of his PIE compressor. Okay, so put the two of them together, that's the package deal. I remember when it first came out, all the videos were Eddie Kramer talking about how great the PIE was, how great the Helios was. Now, I remember there was a session ages ago on YouTube, and I was about Andrew Sheps, and he was basically showing how he, was it the Red Hot Chili Peppers? I think so. I think it was maybe Red Hot Chili Peppers, and he was utilising the Helios, the Waves HLS, on bass and on guitars, and I think on snare drum as well. And I was like, yeah, that's great. And that's the first time I found out about this 60 Hertz bump. Right, so even just having the plugin engaged on its own, and without any boost, just the 60 Hertz, right, engaged, it just naturally gives you this nice little bass bump. And it is true, I've used it over the years. The problem is, I don't actually use the Helios and the KRAMER PIE. The PIE compressor, I used to use on rooms. I used to use it quite a lot because it's got this kind of nice pumping quality to it. But I just think it kind of makes things sound a little bit rough. Like, I wouldn't put it on vocals. It's a little bit, it's a massive colour box, but when it compresses, you can hear the compression. It's just like the dial's just like that constantly. So it's not a subtle compressor, and neither is the HLS. But I have used it in certain times. I did used to like it on snare and adding little frequencies on guitars. So I did use it and I did like it. But after I did this video, and after a few comments about people saying, no, Waves is still amazing. How dare you? Okay, how dare you? Whatever. I don't care. I'm an honest reviewer, okay? So I went, right, does anybody else do the Helios? And before you say it, yes, I know UAD do it. I don't have an Apollo, right? I have an Audion, okay? An ID14, right? I probably should have got the Apollo if I knew years down the line that I was going to be doing plugin reviews. Sorry guys, I am planning on getting an Apollo, right? I know that Ed Thorne, check that video out, he just did last week. I think it's about the solo, which is good for me because I don't really want to utilise the preamps. I just really want to have another interface that I could then utilise the DSP chips for the universal audio and then integrate that into my comparisons, because a lot of people are saying, what about UA? What, I know you want to see UA versus Acustica, I know, and I'm trying, but making money, it's like I'm still furloughed. It's like I've not been to work in 6 months. You know, it's like I'm not made of money. But what I might save a few pennies and maybe see if there's a few things I could sell. I will never sell So yes, I did look into other competitors, and I was like, yes, Acustica, right? So there is, by the way, for anybody that is like Acustica Audio, I don't know what any of these colours emulate, because they do work off colour schemes. There is a paste it link, and it's basically somebody went to the effort at getting all the emulations. It's as close as it's going to be. I'm pretty sure they're like maybe 98% bang on, pretty sure. So I found out that the Acustica Viridian that I used as a shootout versus the Nailed V76 U73, I remembered it. I remembered to say it. I couldn't say it earlier on, and I did that versus the Slate. So that's the preamp and the U73B compressor. I thought the Viridian was actually emulating, and I set it up that way, and then found out it wasn't. So always do your research whenever you do plugin reviews. But I found out it was based on the Helios in the Pie compressor, and there are other Helios compressors as well. And I utilised the Helios compressor with the Plugin Alliance review, so again, check that out as well. I'll leave a link somewhere, whatever corner it goes into. So I knew I had to do it. I was like, no, what? I never really liked the Waves HLS. And again, going back to Eddie Kramer, I was like, right, okay. Eddie Kramer endorsed this. They said they sampled this Kramer Pie. I was like, right, okay. Would Eddie Kramer actually use this? That's what was interesting. Because at the time when you watch all of these videos in this market, it's like Eddie Kramer's like, I definitely use this. And then you ever notice Eddie Kramer's like it's half English but still goes into an American twang. It's odd, but I love Eddie Kramer. Right? I love the records he made. But I kind of look at these videos and go, did you actually use this, or did you just get paid? Like, did you just give them a loan of your stuff and they were like, no, by the way, here's a little contract, right? Endorse this and you'll get such and such. Because I've done this little intro after the review. I think we're going to be pretty shocked with the results. So I do suggest that you stick around all the way until the end for this video. So in this comparison, I'm going to be doing snare, bass and guitar, because I know that the Helios is normally used like more for its mids, it really coloured punchy mids. So Acustica Viridian versus the Waves Eddie Kramer HLS and Kramer Pie. Let's see how we get on. Right, so let's get on with this comparison. So we are comparing the Waves plugins. This is the Eddie Kramer HLS. This was based on his Helios console. And then we have the Kramer Pie, which was again based on the Helios Pie compressor that Kramer owned. And we are comparing that against the Viridian from Acustica, which is emulating different types of Helioses. So again, you have 3 different settings. This one is, I'm pretty sure, the same and has the same frequencies as the Waves, so I thought I would compare that. And then again, you have the compressor, which is the Pie compressor. If you would like to see what the Helios compressors sound like, because again, you do have 3 different types of compressors. Now, if you want to hear what the Helios compressors sound like, I did do a video last week reviewing the Nailed V76 U73 from Plugin Alliance, and again I did add that in just as a little extra flavour. So everything has been volume matched using the U-Lean loudness meter 2, which is absolutely free. So everything has the same integrated LUFS. So let's start off with the snare. Okay, so on the snare I have 250 boosting 3.5. I've got some 4.5k at 5 dB, and then I am cranking the 10k shelf just to get some extra top end out of there. I've got the 50 Hz analog circuit in, and I've got a little bit of extra noise in as well. And then for the Pie, again I have see a very short decay time, 3 to 1, again 60 Hz circuit in. So let's hear what this sounds like. So this is the snare without the plugins engaged. Right, so that is the snare on its own. Now let's hear the difference in what the Pie in conjunction with the Helios is adding, and I will also let you see the loudness meter as well, just so you know that everything is the same loudness. So, as you can hear, it's adding in a nice bit of snap with the Pie compressor, and you're getting a nice bit of top end in there, and ultimately it's kind of giving it just a bit of a better sound to the snare. So as you can see, remember this number, 27.5 LUFS. So in comparison, let's hear what the Acustica Viridian is doing to the snare. Now, in terms of the frequencies, I've kept the frequencies the exact same, and then I have boosted each frequency in terms of tone to see the best I can get out of each EQ. So that was how I set that. And then again, the Pie compressor I've set as similar as I could to the Waves. So let's see in comparison what the Acustica is adding. So as you can see, 27.5 LUFS. So these are perfectly level matched. So let's hear what they sound like side by side. And again, I'm going to be using my old favourite, the Hoffa blind test. Right, so let's loop this piece and we'll hear what they sound like side by side. Right, so really easy in comparison. The Waves is really muddy, and again, remember I've got the top end cranked on the Helios. It's got a nice bit of punch in there, so I do think the punch is roughly the same, but in terms of that EQ, it just sounds really murky and dark, and I just can't get any more top end out of it. So this is going to be a really easy blind test. Honestly guys, this is the easiest blind test I've ever done throughout these. So let's do the blind test, and let's see if I could do this in one take. Now, we all know what that is. Yes, we all knew that was that. So, in terms of two different plugins that are emulating the same thing, it's amazing how awful the Wave sounds in comparison. It just sounds unclear, it's muddy. The Acustica has this clarity in there. It does have more punch. I think listening to it side by side, there's definitely more punch. They're the exact same volume. The Pie compressor is doing a better job. It's clamping down on that transient again. I'm only maybe doing a dB at the most, 2 dB max in terms of compression. So there is more punch in there. The EQ's got more clarity in. The Waves just sounds horrible in comparison. So that was one that the Acustica wins quite easy. Again, remember, analog gear is not, I've been speaking to people, analog gear is meant to give you more clarity. That's something that I found out. If you feel that I'm wrong, then again, comment down below. But I have been told that normally analog gives you more clarity. So, bass. So, let me see what I've got going on here on the bass. So, I've got a bit of 60 going on, 3.5 dB, a bit of 1.4, and it's 7. So, I'm cranking the mids quite a lot in here and just giving it a bit of a bass boost. Let me see, the 60 hertz analog circuit in is there, and I've got the preamp a little bit on as well. And then if we add in the Viridian, again guys, same thing. I've had to give the bass a little bit more of a boost because I don't know why, I just kind of struggled to get a little bit more low end out of this using the same settings. And then again, I've cranked the 1.4 quite big as well. In terms of the Pie compressor, decay time at 2, ratio of 3.1, 60 hertz circuit in, and then on the compressor, again, I've tried to keep it as again close as I can. Look at that release decay set the exact same as well. So let's hear what the bass sounds like on its own. So really nice DI. So let's add in the Waves, the Kramer Pie and the Helios, and let's see what this is giving us. So 25.1, okay? So let's see in comparison what the Viridian is giving us. Now, if you're asking in the comments, why did you not use the channel strip, is because I'm having a GUI issue where any big channel strip is too big for Pro Tools. So if anybody knows a way of fixing that, I would massively appreciate it. So let's see the Acustica. So, as I said at the start of the video, it's either going to be bang on or one of the two is going to be 0.1. Sometimes it's really hard to get them to match exactly. So again, 0.1 of a variance is enough, is close enough here. It's not going to be too much to tell the difference. Right, so let's hear these side by side so we could actually hear the differences. In comparison, this is really the only thing that I think the Helios shines on. What you've got to remember is that a lot of engineers have used the Helios for the bass boost. So honestly guys, if you've seen a lot of videos about this plugin, a lot of the times engineers won't even have any boosts in here. They'll normally just, it's like this trick that everybody knows. If you have the 60 Hertz just the circuit on, you can run anything through it and you're going to get this really nice big bass boost. I don't know what they did to do that, but I do think that it does have slightly better bass and the mids cut through a little bit more. The acoustic is cleaner, that's what this does. So I think in terms of a bass scenario and a bass setup, the bass would probably stick out a little bit more, but the acoustic is cleaner. So it is. So this is more subjective. You've got a clean bass. I can crank the Acustica Viridian's bass a little bit more, but if you do, it jumps very quickly and it becomes a little bit too boomy and you can get a lot more low end out of it. So let's just see if I could tell the difference between the two. I can tell that's the difference, but when you do the blind test, the Waves has more, it's like it has a little bit more distortion in it and a little bit more harmonics in there, but it does sound a little bit harsh in certain points. So there's good points and bad points to each of them. I think I kind of struggled to push the Acustica Viridian to a point where I could really start getting some nice grit out of it, where the Waves has a lot of nice grit in it, so we know that's that. Okay, so I don't think one's better than the other. I think one's cleaner and one's got a little bit more of a tighter bottom end, but it is a little bit harsh in the mids, but it does stand out a little bit. So it's subjective on this one. I can't really say which one's better, but for emulating the same gear, the two of them sound completely different, which is really interesting. So the last one is guitar. Now this is pretty apparent, okay? When you're talking high frequencies, the Waves loses out every single time. So what I'm doing with this is be a bit of 250 at 2 dB. I am giving it a bit of 2.8, 4 dB, and then I'm giving it a high shelf. This is normally how I wouldn't use it, but it was the only way to get some high end cut out of the Helios. So let's hear what that sounds like. Right, so you're talking 20.2 LUFS. Now, in comparison, now again, even already, I just think it sounds horrible. I just think if I was mixing through something and I had guitars that sounded that harsh and that muddy, I just would not use that plugin. So again, I've done the exact same thing. And again, look, I've utilised the high shelf as well, and I'm cranking the high shelf just to get a little bit more out of it as well. So what's interesting is, again, look, I've got 12 dB, guys, right? 12 dB, absolutely cranking the top end at a 10k shelf in this. And then, so I've set the high end shelf to have the exact same dB, just so again you can say, oh, you pushed that even more. So this is what the Acustica Viridian adds on the guitars. Now you're going to hear a massive difference, okay? So again, 20.2, I managed to get this one absolutely bang on. The difference is unbelievable, guys, isn't it? The clarity in there. I don't know if it's just if the acoustic is clear or the Waves is just so muddy. I think that's mental. What did I have the Pie on for this? I can't remember. So I had a bit of a slower release for the guitars. I set it at 2 to 1, so I wasn't really compressing it that hard. Probably, I don't know, I'm pretty sure 3 dB at the absolute peaks. I'm pretty sure that it was as hard as I was hitting it. And again, I've done that to emulate the Pie again. Look, again, release time the exact same. So let's do the blind test and let's hear them side by side. That's crazy, is it? Like, that is absolutely crazy. The amount of mud that is in this Helios EQ is crazy. And what I would say is that I think in the low, it does a better job in the low end. You can hear just while having the low end engaged in the Helios, you get this thickness, which is a little bit more analog for me, something like the Acustica Water would do. So you are getting this nice little bit of low mid boost. So in terms of the strums, there's a little bit more beef to it and there's more body to it. But what it does in the highs is just horrible. It's harsh, it's muddy, there's just no clarity. So again, do I need to do this? We'll do it just for a laugh, okay? We'll do it just for a laugh. Again, one pass. So I did tell you to watch the video to the very end. For all you Waves fans, there will not be many comments on this video. I know you are not going to comment. Yes, no, it's not great. It sounds terrible. My God, does it sound terrible? Why would you use something that just it's a mud machine? And like, how could you crank 12 dB at a 10k shelf and it sound so muddy? Where is the high end? Where is it? The only thing that it sounded okay on was the bass. Two different sounds. Again, the cleanliness of the acoustic is there. Waves have this thing, I don't know if it's the saturation that they put in, but the low end always seems to be there at Waves plugins. They do that. I mean, again, that's why I love Max bass and stuff like that. So on the bass, I did quite like it. I do think it has its uses for bass, and probably would sound quite okay on kick as well. But here's the thing that I didn't do, okay? Because I normally add about a 4.5k to basses for like the high-end DI. Now, I know for a fact that as soon as you get like past 200 hertz, really, it just sounds like a mud machine. So the clarity would have came out with the Acustica, and it would have sounded even better, and you would have kind of got more of a growl out of it. But it is quite limiting in terms of its EQ options. Well, with the Acustica Viridian, you're getting 3 different Helios EQ options. So I do think that I have done it as fair as possible, guys, right? I matched the LUFS. It's the exact same volume, guys, right? Again, at times it might be like 0.1, right? 0.1 of a dB difference. It isn't that much where you're going to go, oh my God, like that is the reason why that sounds better, right? It's tiny differences. It just shows you how far behind Waves is. My God, I mean, as usual, I've not done my research of when this plugin came out. Obviously, when I'm editing this video, I will. So for the post-editing, the Waves HLS KRAMER PIE came out in... It came out then. I can't see it, but it came out then. It was probably donkeys ago. So that's how long that Waves plugin, whenever long it is, I'd probably say, I would like to say, I'm going to take a guess at 8 years. I'm going to take a guess at 8 years. 8 years, right? Because I think it came after the Puig Tech and stuff like that. So I'm going to say 8 years, okay? So the Acustica Viridian has been out for, I should have done this as well, it's been out for this amount of time, but it's getting updated all the time. So again, the sampling's getting better, the CPU's getting better. Every time they do an update, whether it be like Viridian 1, 2, 3, 4, they're making the sound better. So in terms of the audio quality, the cleanliness and the clarity of the Helios is absolutely evident. In the guitar, you can hear the difference. Again, utilising that top end, really hitting that top end hard. Where would you use the Helios? Why would you use it? There's loads of Waves plugins that are very close. Again, look at the Neve shootout that I did with Acustica Gold and the Lindell, and also the Slate Digital as well. The Waves, right, again, Eddie Kramer endorsed this as well. I'm pretty sure it came from his Neve as well. The VEQ and the V-Comp did a very, very good job and was able to stand on its own. It just wasn't there. It just lacked a little bit than what the others did, but it's still very, very usable. I would be happy to use the VEQ and the V-Comp, but the Helios, man, why would you ever want to use it? It sounds terrible. You're adding, it's making your sound worse. It's adding this harshness. Okay, it's got the bass bump. It's the only thing I would use it for. I did like the low end. It was nice and tight. But again, is that what a Helios sounds like? Is that what Eddie Kramer's Helios sounds like? There is no way Eddie Kramer's Helios sounds like that. There's no way. There is no way. You can hear all the records in the 60s that he done. They do not sound muddy like that. No way. We know that the sampling process that Acustica do in terms of some impulse responses and stuff like that, the way it samples the gear, that's the close representation to that. I know that what I set the Acustica Viridian up is emulating the exact same thing, or just as close as it. Again, exact same frequency bands, KRAMER PIE. The KRAMER PIE sounds okay. Again, the Waves compressors do a good job to me. They have very, very, very good compressors. Very, very good indeed. But the EQs just sound terrible, and I just don't know why they market this as a Helios. And again, I don't know what it is. Again, let's just do the magical little thing. Oh, by the way, this is what it is retailing at right now. As of right now, that's what it's retailing at. Okay, it's probably extortionate. Probably have it on a sale, but whatever that price is, it's not worth money. You may as well just using the EQ that's on just like your standard. But if you're on Logic Pro Tools, just use the standard EQ. At least you won't like be left with lots of mud and clutter in your mix. It's very coloured. The preamp just sounds worse, like in the HLS the more you crank it, and it's just, they're just unusable for me. Again, it's like, imagine sitting there going, the only time I would use the Waves HLS is just to not boost anything, just to have a 60 Hz bump, which is probably still boosting something, obviously, because you have a bump. But to just say, yeah, I would have the plugin on and not use it, that's how I would use this plugin. So if there was any kind of forms of early proof that that video that I did about the fall of Waves audio is evident, it's in this plugin review. I've done it as fair as possible, right? I set up the Waves Helios the best that I could. I tried to get the best sound that I physically could out of that. The Acustica Viridian, I could have pushed it even more if I wanted to. I set up the Viridian in a way where I was like, right, okay, let's just try and get it a little bit closer. I could still push it and it still sounds more amazing. But again, I set it up to its full capacity. Again, I cranked it to it. Again, the top end, I can crank that at 10k high shelf. I did as good as I could for it. I tried to be as impartial as possible, but it just sounds terrible and it's not very good. You could say Paul is subjective, and yes, all the other stuff I did, again, like when I did the Waves CLA mix hub versus like the SSL Sand and the 9000J and stuff like that, yeah, again, still really good. But everybody told me, and even to my ears, I was like, it did sound the weakest, but still very, very good. This just sounds rubbish. It's rubbish. Don't buy it, don't use it, just buy something else. There's a lot, honestly, there's loads of great Waves plugins, just don't buy it. But yes, there you go, from Waves to Acustica. That's the difference, guys. That's the difference that we're looking at. Waves are still pushing this plugin out and still charging a premium price, right? Again, for the two of them, because you can't get the two of them in a bundle. And again, the price of the Acustica, this is the reason why a lot of people don't go with the Acustica, but that's the price of the Acustica. That's the price of the Acustica Viridian. Yeah, it's expensive, but in terms of the price difference, you can hear it this time, can you? Come on, you can hear the difference, right? It is expensive, but just remember, guys, if you go with Control Room, I can't tell you because it's on the website and I should have checked, but I've tried to get myself not in trouble because I love Control Room and I don't want to be kicked off it. So yes, on their website, it tells you you can get 50% off Acustica Audio if you join Control Room. Again, I'll leave a link down below. I'm not sponsored. I just hit 600 subscribers, by the way. Yeah, I did it. Yeah, only 400 more to get to 1,000. Yes, but thank you all you guys for the support, right? I really, 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 really appreciate it. So what's coming up next week? Again, the reason you're subscribed to this channel is because you want me to keep on giving you videos every single Wednesday. So next week I'm very excited about this because I'm going to be following on the whole Waves kind of the whole debacle thing. I'm probably going to get myself in a little bit of hot water, but so what? I don't care. Waves are just like on the downcline. The downcline, is that a downcline a word? I don't care. Okay, whatever. Next week I'm going to be doing a Abbey Road special, and that is right. So I'm going to be doing the Waves TG12345 and the Waves RS56, which is essentially the curve bender and the Zener limiter. So again, the soft tube do the Chandler, which is the Zener bender. So I'm going to be doing the Waves. Oh for God, why did Abbey Road have to make it so long, man? So the Waves TG12345, the Waves RS56 versus the soft tube Zener bender, and also, of course, I'm going to do Acustica, the Acustica Coffee that I fell in love with. I am just falling in love with this plugin, and it emulates the same stuff. Now the soft tube is always quite expensive all year round, so I'm expecting big things from this. So yes, it's kind of really going to be a case of probably soft tube versus Acustica, but everybody says to me that Waves did a fantastic job on the Abbey Road stuff. I've used the Waves Abbey Road quite a lot. I was using the RS56 for a good 3 years, right? TG12345, some of the best distortion you'll ever get with a plugin. Really nice punchy compressor. I do love the Abbey Road, I'm not going to lie. So it's going to be interesting to see if Waves do put more effort into their sampling processes of the Abbey Road stuff, or is it just marketing, and these other two, again, are proving the difference in quality. So check that out in the other video. Again, I did say I'm going to be doing two. It's all about music education. So I am going to be speaking about the importance of music education, why I think it's important, and kind of speaking about my journey and why these Control Room and Produce Like a Pro, the Mix Academies and stuff like that, why they are important, but why you need to learn the basics first and use them in conjunction, and you do that first before you get onto that, or again you do them both together. Okay, so that's what I've got for you next week. Again, comment down below and tell me what you want. And do you want to see a certain type of plugin? Is there a plugin I don't know about? Let me know, I'll do a comparison on it. Again, somebody commented on the Focusrite video that I did and was like, Paul, would you be able to do a comparison on bass, acoustic guitar and vocals, Brainworks Focusrite SC versus the Big Seal Acustica, right? So I'm like, okay, I'll do that for you. I'll do it in 3 weeks' time. Let me know what you want me to do. It's like, I'm going to run out of options pretty soon, right? So again, I'm thinking about other things I can do to kind of like give me more content for you guys, because I know that's what you want to see. That's why you've subscribed. So again, thank you very much for watching, guys. Like, subscribe. If you're not subscribed, please subscribe so you can keep up with my content every single Wednesday. And yes, if Waves Audio do decide that they want to get in contact with me, I don't think you are. I'm sorry, but it's just fucking sounds terrible. Thank you very much for watching, guys, and I'll see you next Wednesday.